The Slantnose is a Marmite car. People either like it or they don't. There's no real in-between, particularly the purists that kind of see the car as a bit of a Frankenstein kit car rather than something that is actually from the factory. The reality is it's wrongfully maligned and in fact has its place in Porsche's heritage. My name's Dave Watson and I drive a 1986 Porsche 911 Turbo SE. The car was delivered new to Saudi Arabia via the Samaco bin Laden company, which was the approved Porsche main dealer in Jeddah. It has a number of special order features ranging from its factory Ferrari Rosso Corsa paint to sample, to its Magnolia perforated leather seats and headlining. It also has a special order steering wheel, factory fitted walnut dash, cassette trays that are illuminated that drop down from under the dash, and one of three central console designs that were provided through the Special Wishes program. Mine, I believe, originally had a telephone keypad in it where there's now a blanking plate. The Special Wishes program came about in 1981 when Mansour Ogier, who was behind the McLaren Tag Formula One team and the Tag Heuer watch brand, he requested Porsche to build him a Porsche 935 for the road, which became the 935 Street. That particular car was what gave rise to the Special Wishes program, or the Sonderwunsch program as it's known in Germany. During 1982, the factory started delivering Slantnose models. Porsche decided to get in on the act, really, having seen a number of well-known tuning firms, making Slantnose conversions. Customers were able to choose from an extensive options list published in the Special Wishes program catalogue. So if you wanted to order one, you had to actually approach the factory direct. They weren't at that point available through the dealer network. The G-Series Slantnose models were produced from 1982 through to 1989 and spanned three separate generations. The first, which was available from 82 to 83, had the sort of Flachbau, or low rise, as it translates from German, front wings, but with no pop-up lamps. The lamps were actually in the bumper. They only made 58 of those. Second generation, which includes my car, was built with pop-up lamps from 83 through to the latter part of 86. And then the third generation was available from 86, 87 model year through to 89. The first two generations, in fact, were true Special Wishes. They were handmade by the restoration department in Works One and were really a bespoke order car in the sense that it depended on what the customer ordered from the Special Wishes catalogue. The last of the line Slantnose was given designation of M505 for the US market, M506 for the rest of the world. Those were actually available on dealer price lists and in fact were made in the factory on the normal production line and just finished in the Special Wishes department. They made a lot more of those. There was about 650 odd they made out of a total production of 948 cars, so it's still quite a rare vehicle. The M505 models had the standard front valance. They were not permitted to have an oil cooler and the front air dam. So you'll notice certain cars have got the deep air dam like mine, and others have got the standard 930 front valance, and that's the reason. My car has got little square Hella side lamps at the front. Those were mandated by certain markets so that the side lights were visible when the pop-ups were down. Those actually are, I guess a defining feature of the Slantnose models in some ways, although they are bespoke, even right down to the little rubber infill parts in between the side lamp cluster and the bumper bellows. That's specific to the Slantnose because it's shorter to accommodate those little side lamps. Most Slantnose models had running boards or rocker covers covering the sills, and front and rear air vents. Where it came to changing a wheel, the factory actually provided jacking point extensions for the emergency jack, which are triangulated underneath the sills, which is one way of telling whether the car is actually factory or aftermarket. If you lift the bonnet and look at the front boot, then another giveaway is the centrally mounted lamp motor, which is mounted to the front slam panel. A lot of conversions have twin motors that are not actually mounted in that way. You'll also notice that there's bespoke fiberglass mechanism covers, lamp mechanism covers, either side of the boot. And the oil pipes, which you can see looks like they're covered in dishcloth, but that's the way they were from factory. The Slantnose models also had a resighted emergency jack when it was stored, so they actually welded and riveted mounts above the fuel tank at the rear of the boot. Mechanically, the Slantnose models tend to be relatively similar to the standard 930s. And could be ordered with a limited slip differential, like my own car. Many came with what was known as the Turbo S package, which was a 330 brake horsepower power upgrade, which tended to be spotted by the twin outlet exhausts and a larger intercooler, wastegate modifications and fueling modifications, etc., raising the power to 330 brake from 300. Those cars also had a stamp on the block, so 930/66S, which authenticated that it was produced at the factory. My car left the factory with 300 brake, but was modified at some point. Although it's been dynoed at 335 brake on minimum boost, so I suspect it'll do about 400 on full boost. These cars are only now starting to find a following, having been misunderstood for many years. Those that appreciate the story and the origins of how the Porsche exclusive manufacturer or special wishes program came about are starting to realise the place that they have in Porsche's heritage. I've owned my car for over 15 years and have added around 25,000 miles to it in that time, with trips across to Le Mans Classic, Spa Classic, and various other European road trips. The 930 in particular is as much a GT as it is a sports car. It's not as nimble as a Carrera, but when that boost comes on, then you just hang on for dear life, and you certainly have a grin factor. The defining feature of the car for me is just how turbine smooth the engine is, given that it's 70s technology. But more than that, the 911 Turbo SE remains my ultimate poster car. It's the car I had on my bedroom wall. If you're interested in finding out a little bit more, have a look at my website, which is www.911flachbau.com.